First of all, I'd like to apologise for the impact on people's travel plans today. The issue we had earlier meant that our automatic system, which provides controllers with details of every aircraft and its route, wasn't working. Instead, to manage safety, we had to limit the number of flights we could manage.
Unfortunately, the flight has been cancelled. There'll be information on your apps, I would imagine. I've never used the app myself, but I presume there'll be updates on your app shortly as to what the options are moving forward. Now I've got the logistical nightmare of figuring out how to get you all off the aircraft and your bags, etc.
Yesterday, we saw the most significant air traffic control outage in the last decade. It was really quite devastating. About 8:30 in the morning, they identified an issue with the flight planning systems. That's the actual automatic system that airlines have to file their flight plans to if they plan to travel over UK airspace or land or take off from UK airspace. Now, by about lunchtime, that system had completely given up and there was no chance for anything to be done other than each flight plan to be put in manually. Now, inputting manually takes much more time, and that led to huge restrictions in the number of flights that could either take off, land, or go through UK airspace. That led to huge delays and many, many cancellations that have seen people stranded across the globe as flights were cancelled because aircraft were in the wrong place, and particularly crews started to go out of hours. And although things are back up and running by about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, there was still a huge impact, and that's going to continue to impact flights over the coming days. This morning, I'm seeing about a third of flights flying out of UK airports cancelled, another third approximately delayed. So there's still huge problems out there.
Our teams worked hard to resolve the problem, and I'm pleased to say it was fixed earlier on this afternoon. However, it will take some time for flights to return to normal, and we will continue to work with the airlines and the airports to recover the situation.
In an article in today's Times, it said that perhaps the whole thing started because a French airline filed an incorrect plan, and that is what tipped the system over the edge. If that's the case, we need to have a serious look at exactly what's happened and make sure that it never happens again, because to have the kind of significant disruption we had on the busiest weekend of the year so far just isn't acceptable. Aviation experts are saying that it could be up to Friday before things go back to normal and we are actually back on an even keel. I'm hearing reports from some readers stranded abroad saying that they've been told they won't be able to get a flight till Thursday or Friday this week to return back to the UK. The situation is looking grim for many people, and it will continue to not be good for at least the next couple of days. We're hearing from a lot of some readers saying that they can't get hold of their airlines and they've been basically abandoned in airports. It's very important to understand that if your flight is significantly delayed any more than 2 hours, your airline does have a legal duty and obligation to look after you. Now, that includes food and drink. And if it is an overnight that you're being delayed, then you should be getting hotel accommodation. Now, that isn't happening all the time. This situation is very fast moving and very chaotic. So make sure that you keep any receipts for things that you have spent. If you either bought meals or you've had to get hotel accommodation, keep all your receipts and keep those expenses reasonable. Don't expect to be able to dine out at the Ritz. It's not going to be that. They're going to expect reasonable expenses, and then you can put your claim through to an airline. If your flight is cancelled, you're entitled to a refund, or the airline must get you back at the earliest possible opportunity. It's really important to consider before you take that refund, because if you take a refund from an airline, that's all of their responsibility gone. They have no longer any responsibility to get you home. It's always best to make sure that the airline is given as much chance as possible to get you home, or start to look how you can get home yourself. Don't accept that refund. Find another way home and then claim back from your airline.